Yeah. Here, let me break it down. Yeah, I'm gonna make it now. Give me some time and you'll see me up on stage somehow. I'm working every day.
Howdy, I'm Seth with Sisters Grimm Ghost Tours. You can check us out on Sisters Grimm Facebook or sistersgrimmghosttours.com. See you soon.
Hey, good everybody, I'm over here about to go do that haunted ghost tour over here at, by the River Center Mall. And so paid about $15, whatever. Supposed to visit about like 8 different locations of I guess haunted places around downtown. So hope y'all enjoy it, whatever. I'll see how much footage I could get, see if I can catch anything, suspicious. Like the way this downtown looks at night. There's a lot of people chilling, I don't know if y'all can see all that. Alright, man, I'll see y'all in a bit.
Alrighty, so the Minger Hotel was built in 1859. This hotel is one of the most haunted. In fact, it is the most haunted. I should have said that. Well, it has over 36 ghosts. And here is how it looked when it first opened in 1859. This picture was taken from across the plaza behind the street. You can see it was a lot smaller than today. It goes all the way to the street. It is over 200 rooms, takes up to 2 city blocks, and it's up to 5 stories. Originally, it was just 50 rooms and 2 stories, 3 at the far back. So William Minger was a German immigrant to San Antonio, Texas, and on these very grounds, he built San Antonio's very first brewery and Texas, yeah, San Antonio's and Texas' very first brewery right here on these grounds. And then he married a lady who ran a boarding house right next door to him. So William and Mary opened the Minger Hotel and ran it together. Authors, actors, poets have stayed here. And actually, Teddy Roosevelt is one of the 36 ghosts they've identified. If you visit the bar, he is seen in there, or in this lobby too. Believe it or not, he still shows up trying to recruit men to join the Rough Riders. That's what he was here for originally. He stayed in this hotel 3 times in 1898, recruiting men for the Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War. And he would buy young men rounds of drinks and beers. You'd get a rousing speech from a young Teddy Roosevelt, and then you join up to go with the Rough Riders. So he still hangs out there. He will try and recruit young men to this day to join. Bartenders, not just the people drinking the beers. Bartenders say truth is stranger than fiction in there too. Like, they'll see him show up as well. My friend who worked there, he heard something one night. He said he never saw Teddy, but something didn't like his singing because he was closing up the door. The street door was locked, so the only way he could have gotten into the bar was from the lobby. He said no one was in that hallway. He's just kind of finishing up, pulling one of the bars, someone gets right next to him, he had his headphones in, he's singing this music, voice goes, shut up, right in his ear. Yeah, so he opened his eyes expecting like someone to be there, one of the security guards, one of the other hotel staff, nobody. He didn't work here much longer now, he works outside of the plaza. A lot of people in the hotel industry now kind of encounter weird stuff here. The Minger's one of the hotels where the staff, well actually, they were allowed to talk to you about it. Sallie White got in an argument with her husband in their home one day, March 28th, and he shot her in the stomach. So she ran out of their house up towards the hotel, and he shot her 2 more times in the back as she ran up the street. We just walked up. So they brought her here to the hotel and treated her wounds, but unfortunately she died 2 days later. So she dies March 30th. They have her funeral next week, April 7th, 1876. One young lady actually told my boss that she was staying here on the 2nd floor above the restaurant, and she went back into her room after dinner, and she was going to go back out on the bar the Riverwalk. She's in town for a convention, and she changed first, so she threw a clean dress and shoes on the bed, hopped in the shower, got out of the shower, notices it's like 11 o'clock at night, maybe, notices the shoes have been placed on the floor, and she walks further around the corner from the bathroom and sees the maid in her room taking the dress and like straightening it out on the corner of the bed floor. She says the maid was wearing very old style, long white dress, granite uniform. Her hair was up. He describes like a long beaded necklace she was wearing. And she goes, "Ma'am, may I help you?" And the maid, Sally, doesn't say anything. She just keeps straightening out the dress and helping her out. And she goes up to actually touch her, like, "Ma'am, may I help you?" And Sally stands up and disappears in front of her eyes. So this lady runs down to the lobby today and demands a room on the newest side of the hotel. Now, new is relative, because like I said, they've added on sections and rooms since 1859, so that would have all been there by late 1800s, early 1900s. So they accommodate her, give her the new room, tell her when you're out of the old one, let us know. You can just leave the keys in there. There's no police send someone up to grab all my stuff. If she didn't go up there, the whole rest of her stay, she stayed on this side of the hotel, which is haunted as well. So if you are seeing around, but moving on to the most haunted room, we talked about the most often cited ghost. This room where the most activity occurs belonged to a guy named Richard King. If you look above the antiques and arts, there's a jewelry store on the second floor is his. Back in the late 1800s, he would have had that whole, top second half. So that room today, the suite, the King Suite, still carries his name. You can rent it out. They don't charge you extra, as far as I know, for being the most haunted room. And it belonged to a Captain Richard King. You might have heard of his ranch, which he started after the Civil War. The King Ranch is one of the largest in the world, just south of here. It's over 1 million acres. He was also a cattle bearer and ran cattle on the Chisholm Trail. Very rich guy. So obviously when he came through San Antonio, the biggest city in his area, he needed the nicest place to stay. So he had a suite here year round. And like a lot of the suites, some items and furniture are just been left behind from the people who lived with them or had them for many years like he did. So when you stay in the King's Suite, you're sleeping in the King's bed. Gorgeous old bed. They've changed the sheets and the mattress, so you're okay. But he did die in this exact bed in 1885. We know now that he died of stomach cancer. He just knew then. So you might even see him, and when you do see King, if he's not walking around his room, you'll wake up to him staring over you as you're in his bed, like, what are you doing in my bed? Not a guy you'd want to wake up to in life, much less as a ghost. So the King's Suite, White, the bar, there's all sorts of great haunted reasons. The history alone to this building is worth a stay or a visit to the bar. It's my personal favorite in San Antonio. There's so many great pictures all throughout the lobby, and I learn of a new famous guest every time I walk through here. So, alright guys, welcome to the famous Alamo. We'll wait for a few more people to catch up. 1718, this was the first of 5 Spanish missions built here, and it was actually called La Misión San Antonio de Valero before it was known as the Alamo. So it was a mission for about 100 years, and then it became like a military fort garrison, and actually the Texans kicked Mexican soldiers out of it when they took it over in 1836. So we know March 6th, 1836 was the very famous Battle of the Alamo. This was on the 13th day of bombardment. Santa Anna had been bombarding the fort from every side all around us, and we're actually within where the walls would have been. The church, the barracks is what you're looking at, was at the back of the mission and fort. So on that 13th day, it was a few hours before dawn, Santa Anna ordered his men to attack all at once from every side. The battle only lasted an hour and a half. We know every defender inside was killed. They did not take any prisoners, and over 1,000 Mexican soldiers. And in fact, when we're standing right in front of the barracks, if you look behind you, this monument across the street is the Hotel Indigo. That's where the northwest corner of the wall would have been. We believe William Travis was shot standing on a wall over there in the early part of the battle. And in fact, 75% of the fighting, as I understand, happened right here from that wall to the front of the barracks. So anyways, about a month and a half goes by. Battle of San Jacinto, Texans wins their independence. Now Santa Anna had moved on from San Antonio, and he'd actually left a few soldiers behind. So after Texans won their independence and all the soldiers are leaving Texas, Santa Anna ordered the ones left here to, before leaving the fort, level it brick by brick. Don't leave a stone standing. So their commander, who'd actually moved on already, sent some men back to destroy, carry out Santa Anna's orders, destroy it, not leave a brick standing. And they approached the church, and this is where the first ghost story comes from. They say, out of nowhere, these 6 men just appeared in front of the doors. They were wearing robes with hoods over their faces. They couldn't see their faces, so they approached the doors even further, stepping closer to these men, and they pulled out these swords, which were suddenly on fire, according to the soldiers. And the men in robes, 6 of them, waved these swords in the air before them and cried out to depart, touch not these walls, to the soldiers. So the Mexican soldiers feared that these were the fallen men from the battle, or perhaps the friars and monks of the mission. That's what I think personally. Or, they were diablos, like that's what some said. So anyways, these soldiers go back to their commander, saying they can't destroy the building, describe what they saw. He's like, oh, okay. They sent more men not quite sure if they believe those first group. So the second group returns, saying that they encountered the exact same thing. 6 men suddenly appeared in front of the doors of the church and cried out with these flaming swords. So they decided discretion was the better part of valor and just left San Antonio, left it remaining as it stands today. So like I said, this is the church and the barracks. So not only do you have that ghost story, you also have the ground that I'm standing on. Many years before the battle, we know it was a mission, right? Well, in almost every mission, you had a lot of Native American deaths, and the friars amongst you, and you would always bury them in front of the church. So I said, that's the church. Well, when they did excavations here, they found tons of Native American remains in addition to all the artifacts, so they realized there was a Native American burial ground in addition to this being the site of the battle. So this whole plaza is sacred to the living and the dead because of the battle and, of course, the mission before. So now, after they did those excavations in the 90s, since then you haven't been able to drive through here, which is good. Can you imagine, knowing that this was a burial ground and still letting people drive through here? So in addition to that, this site just became a UN World Heritage Site with all the other missions in town. So they're going to be doing a lot more scanning, excavating kind of around the plaza. It's going to look different in the next couple of years if you visit back. I'm excited. They're going to fill in a lot more of the history that they're always finding out. Last summer they did some excavating and big scans. They found over 1,500 items just in between the stores across the street behind you guys, because that's what one of the gates was. If you go over there during the day, you can actually look down and see some of the original adobe bricks. So remember those 6 men that appeared in robes that I think are the monks and friars. People today, and that's why this ghost story lives on, who totally have never heard this story, will ask, especially around the anniversary of the battle, like the Plaza Hotel or me or the Alamo Rangers, like, who are those 6 men that I saw standing in front of the church? People will look out, the ones with the view, early morning, early March. A lot of times we start getting those stories. I've had people in the Crockett even tell me that, looking behind the church. If you visit town closer to the anniversary of the battle, you will see a lot of historical reenactments, but nobody does that. Those are just still those 6 spirits showing up to this day to protect the church. Now, if you follow me, we're going to go over to the Emily Morgan. But the Emily Morgan Hotel is one of the most haunted, I'd say the second most haunted in my opinion, especially the second most in the Plaza Hotel in San Antonio. And it obviously was a really gorgeous Gothic revival architecture style. This was built in 1924, and it was a hospital until 1984. It was the premier medical arts establishment here in San Antonio until 1984. It became the Emily Morgan Hotel. Now, you might not recognize the name Emily Morgan, but you'll recognize what she's known as and remembered as, the Yellow Rose of Texas. If you've ever heard of her old song and poem about her. So she helped out during the Battle of San Jacinto. Anyways, so like I said, this building, originally a hospital, has been a hotel since '84, and it's a really nice hotel. But if you go all the way up to the top floor, it has a very strange smell. Smells like it used to when it was a hospital. People will walk up around the hallway. I went up there when the elevator doors opened. I smelled like Neosporin and Band-Aids. Or when you're changing out a cut, you kind of almost smell your wound a little bit. Kind of gross, but you know what I'm talking about. It was on my vest too when I got back in my car. Now, if you count, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you can only count 13 floors. That's because they built this hospital with the 13th floor, and of course, due to superstition, you call it the 14th floor. So when you stay here, that top floor that smells like a hospital still to this day, and all the other floors don't have this problem, just that top one. You're actually staying on the 13th. So if you look in the elevator to say 11, 12, 14. Now, believe it or not, that's not the most active floor. It's the floor beneath it, the 12th floor. This is where people will report seeing men in white pushing beds or equipment, and the beds will have bodies on them. Sometimes they'll describe gruesome scenes. And this was the floor they did all the surgeries on and operations. So a lot of times what's fun for me is when people who don't know the history report seeing stuff, and it actually lines up with the events or the people, like Sallie, really scary when you're in a hotel. So they get a lot of phone calls at the front desk when they do stuff in the elevator. Half the time, though, the sisters said a lot of times she would get calls from the elevator. There would be nobody speaking on the other line. on, and then they would check, and there'd be nobody in the elevator at all. So just like I said about the Minger, it's true with the Emily Morgan too. Truth is stranger than fiction here, and in fact, all the hotels and restaurants and buildings around the Alamo Plaza. So if you ever want to stay here, really nice hotel, but if you are the type of person that encounters, weird things and that sort of energy just follows you around, maybe, beware before you stay at the Emily Morgan. But I like it. I've stayed here. I did smell the strange smells, but I didn't encounter anything other than that. I was told that by a lady, she said she got pushed walking out of the elevator. In 1731 moved here, and they started the church. It was finished in 1738, but it's been a lot of renovations because there were some fires. The second tower wasn't there until the late 1800s. For many years, it was just the one tower on your right. But throughout all of this, it has been continuously operating since 1730. So there is one older church in Texas, in El Paso. That would be the oldest one, but it's in ruins. So this is the oldest operating church in the state of Texas, and it's the second oldest continuously operating Catholic cathedral in North America. Well, many famous people, were congregation members and got married here. I had a friend that got married here a couple of years ago, but probably the biggest wedding to ever happen here was between one of San Antonio's most famous couples. This is 5 years before the Battle of the Alamo, and the guy in the picture, he got married to his bride, Ursula Veramindi, in April of 1831. Now you can tell who he is. He's a defender of the Alamo, and he's also got a knife on his hip that he named after himself underneath his hat there. Anybody know who he is? Yeah, Bowie. So he lived here in San Antonio, married Bowie. You can say however you want. I actually go back and forth. Sometimes I call him David Bowie. I don't know if that's a slip, but rest in peace, David, and Jim too. Now, Jim got married here to Ursula. She was 19. He was 31, 33. Ages are kind of varied depending on who you ask. That was pretty common then, and they were said to be very much in love. She was probably, not the, but one of the wealthiest, most well-established families here in San Antonio, and he was Bowie. So everyone in San Antonio was here for the wedding, and unfortunately, they had tragedy struck their family just 2-3 years before the Battle of the Alamo. So we know Bowie died in the walls of the Alamo. Ursula died a couple years before that during a cholera outbreak. And he'd actually sent her and their kids to the Veramindi estate in Monclova, Mexico, hoping to ride it out. He was going to send word, let her know when it was okay to come back to San Antonio. But she actually caught cholera along the way. And then her 2 children died with her. Her parents died at the estate. So this is pretty common. A lot of wealthy families. So the Veramindis weren't the only family that left San Antonio during this outbreak. And unfortunately, Jim receives news that what he considered his decision to save his wife resulted in the death of his entire family. He blamed himself, but he was never the same guy. And then we know he died, sick, drinking a lot in the walls of the Alamo. But he's been in this church ever since those remains were gathered up and buried underneath the altar. In the 1920s, they were exhumed and put into a marble sarcophagus. They've been inside the walls of this church, though, ever since. They've never been taken out. If you go in during the day, perfectly fine that you do, even if you're giving service, you can go in on the left door, you'll see that sarcophagus immediately. So every defender's remains, best they include, is inside. There's Travis, Crockett, Bowie, Daniel Boone. I remember somebody told me him, and I said, no, Daniel Boone's not in there, but his nephew was, who had the same name. So he's in there. If you go further back, behind the altar, you'll see the original adobe walls, which the church was like a little cross, and then they added on the stone. But in those adobe walls are the bodies of many of these Canary Islanders. They were buried inside the walls of their cathedral. It was not weird at all for them. It was an honor and a tradition they carried over from Europe. So you'll actually see markers with names, like plaques, with their names on the wall. And this is I used to think it was to commemorate the people who built the church, but it's actually to mark the bodies in the wall.
Yeah, here let me break it down. Yeah, I'm gonna make it now. Give me some time and you'll see me up on stage somehow. I'm working every day.